Wednesday, January 4th, 2023, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So Alan Greenspan, an interesting character. He was at the top of his game when I started out in finance. We're going to look at Alan Greenspan. He's still alive. He's 96, and he's been commenting about the U.S. economy, about the Fed, and I think it's interesting to look at what he's been saying. And before I start, though, I'd like to make a few announcements. There's been a lot of these bots on the comment section of the YouTube videos. You should ignore them. I never ask people to contact me about great deals on cryptocurrencies or anything else. What these bots do is they copy my thumbnail and they give you WhatsApp numbers and Telegram addresses to go to. Ignore those, maybe report them. I tried to delete them as much as possible to block them, but they keep coming back. And before we go into Greenspan, just look at a couple of headlines, which are very interesting because yesterday I said that we'd have economic and political chaos. And lo and behold, we're having something that hasn't happened in a century in the United States. They can't seem to elect a Speaker of the House. So they've had 3 votes, and Kevin McCarthy has lost all 3 of them. All he needs is 218 votes to get the job as the majority leader of the House. So they're going to keep trying today, I think. And if it fails, they might have to bring someone else in to try to put there as the leader of the House, of the majority. And the House can't function unless there is a leader or a Speaker of the House, sorry. So this is quite interesting, something that hasn't happened in 100 years. And here in the UK, I'm talking about now the economy, how the economy is basically totally melting down. So we've had the Prime Minister say today, Downing Street admits some Britons will find it very difficult to use NHS this winter. So how can you have a well-functioning economy when the health service doesn't function? And I'm not saying people shouldn't look after their health themselves, and I think that's very important considering we're paying for the NHS and it's not working. But be as it may, it's very serious. But I would say this is not something new. People are going to blame the war in the Ukraine. They're going to blame COVID. They're going to blame strikes. But as you can see here, this article here from 11 years ago, strikes over public sector pensions hit services across UK as 2 million walk out. So yeah, this is from 11 years ago, from the 30th of November 2011. So this has been brewing for many, many years. Just wanted to put that out there. So back to Alan Greenspan. Do I like or am I a fan of Alan Greenspan? You might switch off this video if I say I'm partly a fan and partly not a fan. And why am I a fan of him? Well, because he wrote this essay or article back in 1967 entitled Gold and Economic Freedom, Alan Greenspan. And he was a disciple of Ayn Rand, of the free market and small government. And I have an interesting story to tell you about Alan Greenspan. It's not that I met him directly or anything. It's that I met Ron Paul back in 2002 at the Mises Institute in Auburn, Alabama. I was there with my wife for the 20th anniversary of the Mises Institute. And Ron Paul made a speech there, and he attended some of the lectures that you could go to. And I was there at that lecture. And at the end, I went up to Ron Paul and I asked him about this essay that Greenspan wrote. And he told me Greenspan autographed that article or essay for him because Dr. Ron Paul was, of course, in Congress, and he used to question Greenspan and the testimonies. And apparently Ron Paul told me, he told me that he asked Greenspan, do you still believe in everything you wrote back in 1967? And don't forget, at the time, Greenspan was chairman of the board of the Federal Reserve. And Greenspan said, yes, I do. I believe in everything I said in that essay. But the problem is that politically, the people don't want that. They want the inflation. So I thought that was interesting. So I'm going to quickly read the introduction or the first paragraph of this essay and the last one. And I'm going to put a link to it below in the description so you can have an idea of what he said. An almost hysterical antagonism toward the gold standard is one issue which unites statists of all persuasions. They seem to sense perhaps more clearly and subtly than many consistent defenders of laissez-faire that gold and economic freedom are inseparable, that the gold standard is an instrument of laissez-faire, and that each implies and requires the other. In order to understand the source of their antagonism, it is necessary first to understand the specific role of gold in a free society. And then this is how he ends it. This is the shabby secret of the welfare status tirades against gold. Deficit spending is simply a scheme for the confiscation of wealth. Gold stands in the way of this insidious process. It stands as a protector of property rights. If one grasps this, one has no difficulty in understanding the statists' antagonism toward the gold standard. So I'll stop at that. And now we'll look at Greenspan, what he's saying today in 2022 at the age of 96. So I saw this article pop up on my brokerage account, and then it was a tweet from Bloomberg, and I looked into it yesterday, and it says ex-Fed chief Greenspan says U.S. recession is likely. Wages jobs need to soften for inflation pullback to stick. Fed unlikely to loosen policy prematurely wants stable prices. So I would say I don't agree with Greenspan that jobs growth in the job or employment market is inflationary. How would it be? Unless, of course, it's not a healthy economy. And that's, I think, what it is. And I'm not like excusing him, but if you think about it, if you create unemployment, you're going to create less production of goods and services. Is that really going to stop inflation? No, I think inflation, of course, is a monetary phenomenon. The only way to stop inflation is to go back to a gold standard. So they can't create money out of thin air. But Greenspan, of course, is talking really here the mainstream speak, right? But I found it interesting that at the end he says this. And again, I'm going to put this article below in the description. Don't worry if you don't subscribe to Bloomberg. It's under archive.ph. So this is what he says here at the end, or what the article talks about. The risk of lowering rates too quickly is that inflation, and this is what Greenspan says, could flare up again and we would be back at square one, Greenspan said. That could damage the Fed's credibility as the guarantor of stable prices, he said. And this is the interesting part here. There is a caveat here to the Fed trying to stop inflation, though. And he says, for that reason alone, I do not expect the Federal Reserve to loosen prematurely unless they deem it absolutely necessary. For example, to prevent financial market malfunctioning. So there you go. And I think that could be what's driving up the price of gold, not just in dollars, but in all different currencies. And we're going to look into that now that we shift to see where the markets are this morning. So it's 8:35 a.m. London time. And as I said, I think gold and silver are sniffing something. They're sniffing trouble ahead and the Fed having to prematurely loosen. And as you can see here by all these different charts, you can see that gold is really a currency because it seems to be wanting to break out in most major currencies. So have a look at these charts. We've got gold in British pounds, gold in euros, gold in Japanese yen, gold in Canadian dollars, gold in dollars, of course. And yeah, they all seem to be wanting to break out. And that's despite the fact that the dollar has rallied strongly, especially in the first day of trading. Today, though, the dollar's falling back. And it was interesting that the dollar, as per the dollar index, of course, closed 2022 below the 2017 high, which was 103.82. It's gone back above that level now, but I'm not too sure it's going to succeed to stay above that level for too long. And with that, let's quickly look at where the markets are then this morning. So we've got spot gold at 1862.50, so it's up 1.25% or $23. Low's been 34 and the high's been 65. Silver's at 24.33, up 33 cents or 1.4%. High's been 40, low's been 94. What about the stock market? It didn't have a very good first day. It didn't crash or fall massively, but it fell nevertheless, despite the fact that things look really good in the pre-market open. In the futures market, I think the Dow was up 300, 400 points. Everything looked good. So it wasn't a really good start. And this morning here in London, we've got the Dow futures up 100 points. We've got the NASDAQ 100 future up 94 points and the S&P up 18 points. So to the currencies, yes, the dollar rallied strongly yesterday. It went back above 104, but now the dollar's falling back again. The pound is up 7/8% versus the dollar at 120.68. The euro is up 2/3% at 106.18. And the dollar's down 0.5% versus the yen at 130.29. Dollar's down 0.5% versus the yuan at 688.80. Let's check the ruble. Dollar's down 1% at 72 versus the ruble. Let's check the other currencies here. We've got the Aussie dollar up 2% at 68.63. So that's a big move, up 2%. The Canadian dollar is up 0.7, or the dollar is down 0.7 at 135.75. And the Kiwi dollar is up 1.3% at 63.39. Let's check the general commodities. So platinum as well continuing to break out. And I think platinum kind of led the way this time. Am I a stacker of platinum? No, but it's interesting to follow it. I know some of you are. And it looks like it's broken out definitively now. And we're approaching 1,100. It's up $10. It's trading around 1,096 or thereabouts. To the other commodities, WTI crude is down 1.6% at 75.77. Brent crude is down 1.7 at 80.65. High-grade copper is up 1% at 380.04. U.S. nat gas looks like it's unchanged this morning. let's finish off and look at the bond markets. Yes, U.S. Treasury 10-year yield is down 10 basis points. So something is going on there. Market may be telling the world that not all is well with the financial system, with the economy. Again, Greenspan said, I forgot to say, that a recession is likely in the U.S. So yeah, we're at 369, the 10-year yield. What about the UK gilts? Let's have a look. Yeah, UK gilt market also, the yields are coming off a little bit. The 10-year gilt yield is down 5 basis points at 360. The 30-year is down 3 at 393. And the 2-year, which is an important yield to look at because of mortgage rates, that's down 4.5 basis points at 353. So there you go. With that, I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.